The Atlantic Ocean, a body of water that has connected civilizations and served as the setting for countless human epics, hides beneath its surface a relief far more dramatic and unknown than any terrestrial mountain range. At the heart of this abyss lies the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, an underwater mountain range that stretches for more than 16,000 kilometers, making it the longest geological structure on Earth. Despite its magnitude, much of this region remains shrouded in mystery, far from the reach of sunlight and human knowledge. However, in July 2022, an expedition by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration stumbled upon something that has left the international scientific community in a state of absolute bewilderment. Strange formations of holes that defy any immediate logical explanation. Leave a like, subscribe, and share. Let's begin. The discovery took place during the Voyage to the Ridge 2022 mission aboard the research vessel Oceanic Explorer. While the team was operating a remotely operated underwater vehicle, ROV, at a depth of 2,540 meters, the high-definition cameras transmitted an image that looked like it came from a science fiction film set or an impossible archaeological work. In the sandy sediment of the seabed, right on the crest of an underwater volcano near the Azores, series of holes appeared aligned with almost perfect geometric precision. These perforations were not random. They were arranged in straight lines and at regular intervals, a feature that is usually extremely rare in nature and that generally suggests the intervention of an intelligence or a highly structured mechanical process. The initial reaction of the scientists aboard the Oceanic Explorer was one of disbelief. "We observed several of these sublinear sets of holes in the sediment," explained the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration through its official channels. Although there are records of previous reports of similar phenomena in the region, they had never been documented with such clarity, nor had the enigma of their origin been solved. What is most puzzling to experts is the morphology of the perforations. Each hole is surrounded by a small mound of sediment, suggesting that the material was excavated from the inside out or vice versa, indicating that something or an active physical process systematically perforated the seabed. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is an area of intense tectonic activity. It is the place where tectonic plates separate, allowing magma to rise and create new Earth's crust. Because of this, the region is a natural laboratory of volcanism, hydrothermal vents, and unique ecosystems of deep-sea corals and sponges. However, none of the geological forces known so far satisfactorily explain the formation of these trails of holes. The precision of the lines and the uniformity of the distance between each gap seem to contradict the randomness that usually characterizes natural erosive or volcanic processes. In the absence of a definitive answer, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration made an unusual decision to ask the public for help. Through platforms like Twitter and Facebook, the institution shared the images and asked its followers what hypotheses they could consider. As expected, the response was massive and varied. The suggestions ranged from the fantastical to the biological. Some internet users proposed the intervention of extraterrestrials, or the existence of an unknown underwater civilization. Others, more pragmatic, suggested that the holes could be the work of a species of crab or crustacean not yet catalogued that digs in a straight line to look for food or a mate. Theories also emerged about methane gas leaks that, when rising from the lower layers of the crust, pierce the sediment at points of structural weakness. This incident demonstrates, above all, how little we really know about the depths of our own planet. We often turn our gaze to the stars and other worlds, investing billions of dollars in mapping Mars or the moons of Jupiter. But beneath our own waves lies a vast, unexplored territory that harbors equally profound mysteries. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, despite being the longest mountain range in the world, is largely terra incognita. Each dive of the Oceanic Explorer is a reminder that Earth is a planet of secrets kept under crushing pressure and eternal darkness. The intrigue generated by these holes is reminiscent of a similar event that occurred earlier that same year in the Pacific Ocean. On that occasion, an exploration team spotted what appeared to be a yellow brick road on the seabed. That formation also sparked theories about lost civilizations like Atlantis. However, in the case of the Pacific, science was able to offer a quick and solid explanation. The formation was the result of volcanic action, where the repeated cooling and heating of the rocks caused fractures at 90-degree angles, creating the illusion of an artificial pavement. But the holes in the Atlantic do not offer that same clarity. There is no fractured rock here, but excavated sediment, which points directly to a biological cause or a fluid expulsion process. If the cause were biological, we would be looking at a fascinating animal behavior. What kind of creature would have the need or the ability to drill into the seabed at such precise intervals at depths of over 2 kilometers? Marine biologists speculate about the possibility of organisms living within the sediment that surface to feed or breathe, creating these sublinear assemblages. But the fact that sets of lines are seen suggests a coordinated or repetitive activity that challenges our current understanding of ethology in the abyss. On the other hand, the geological hypothesis of gas leaks also presents questions. Although it is common for gas trapped under the seabed to escape to the surface, it usually does so in the form of sinkholes or pockmarks of circular shapes and varying sizes. Seeing them arranged in lines as straight as if they had been drawn with a ruler is what baffles geologists. There could be a linear fault under the sand that allows bubbles to escape at specific points, but the pile of sediment outside suggests a shoveling action or mechanical thrust that doesn't quite fit with a simple gas escape. Leave a like, subscribe, and share. The Voyage to the Ridge. 2022 expedition continues its work of mapping and studying coral and sponge communities, but the enigma of the holes has become the unwitting protagonist of the mission. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration often broadcasts its dives live, allowing citizens from all over the world to become explorers from their screens. This transparency has turned the discovery into a viral phenomenon, reminding us that wonder at the unknown is one of the most powerful forces driving human curiosity. Until a direct sample is collected, or the person responsible for the drilling is captured on video at the exact moment of its creation, the holes in the Atlantic will remain an enigma. Science, unlike internet speculation, requires reproducible evidence and direct observations. Until then, we are operating in the realm of hypotheses. What is undeniable is that the Mid-Atlantic Ridge has once again reclaimed its place as one of the most intriguing places in the world. This discovery also highlights the importance of institutions like the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and its exploration vessels. In a time of global environmental crisis, understanding how mid-ocean ridges work is vital. These areas are not only cradles of biodiversity, but also play a crucial role in the thermal and chemical regulation of the oceans. If there are processes at the bottom of the sea that we don't yet understand, like whatever is causing these holes, we may be ignoring fundamental aspects of the geodynamics of our home. The vastness of the Atlantic Ocean and the inaccessibility of its depths have acted as a barrier that has protected these mysteries for millennia. However, remotely operated vehicle, ROV, technology is breaking down those walls. Every time man sends a robotic eye into the abyss, reality throws back a new question. The holes aligned near the Azores are a signature in the sand, a message from a world that does not belong to us, but on which we totally depend. For many scientists, the true value of these findings is not the immediate answer, but the question they generate. Uncertainty is the driving force behind research. The fact that experts from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, with all their technology and experience, admit that they are not sure about what they are seeing is a sign of intellectual honesty that dignifies science. It reminds us that knowledge is not a static state, but a continuous process of discovery where each answer usually brings with it 10 new questions. In the depths of the Atlantic, time moves differently. Biological and geological processes occur at rates that often escape our temporal perception. It is possible that these holes have been there for centuries, or that they form and disappear in a matter of days. Without sunlight to mark the passage of the seasons, the seabed is a place of permanence and subtle change. The presence of these voids, 2,500 meters below the surface, is a testament to the incessant activity that seethes on the roof of the mid-Atlantic ridge. A place where the fire of the Earth's interior meets the eternal cold of the ocean. As the Oceanos Explorer progresses in its mapping, more formations of this type are likely to be found. The hope is that, on one of those dives, the ROV will encounter the architect of the holes. Whether it's a small, humble organism or a complex geophysical phenomenon, the solution to the mystery will undoubtedly be a significant contribution to our catalog of knowledge about the planet. Until that day comes, the holes in the mid-Atlantic will continue to fuel the imagination of internet users and the dedication of scientists, remaining one of the most beautiful and strange anomalies detected in the last decade. The Atlantic has once again taught us a lesson in humility. It has reminded us that its tallest mountains are submerged, that its most active volcanoes are invisible to our eyes, and that its paths are traced by hands, paws, or forces that we have not yet learned to name. The mid-Atlantic ridge remains the backbone of the world, and we are only just beginning to feel its heartbeat. The strange holes in the Atlantic challenge science not because they are impossible, but because they force us to expand our frame of reference and recognize that the map of our knowledge still has many blank spaces marked with the legend, "Here be dragons," or, in this case, "Here be mysterious holes." The search for answers will continue, driven by the same thirst for knowledge that led ancient navigators to cross the horizon. Today, the horizon is vertical, downwards, towards the bottom of an ocean that remains the great enigma of humanity. And while scientists analyze the data and the public debates on social media, the holes in the Atlantic sand remain there, aligned, silent, and defiant, waiting for the moment when we are ready to understand their secret. Leave a like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.